Hello everyone and welcome back to Simply Excellence with NC. For all of us, all professionals, whether we are in sales, whether we are in finance, the year end is the most stressful time when we have to make budgets for the next year based on the data which is there, which we have from the past. And do you get stressed where we are required to do budgeting for the next year based on various type of permutations and combinations and what would be the result? For example, various type of sales revenues and cost of sales percentages, and what would be the admin expenses, and then what would be the gross profits, net profits, based on various permutations and combinations, so that we can project the future. So data analysis is done for two things. One is data analysis of what has already happened, comparing it to the previous years and the current year which is there, and we cannot do anything much about it. But then if you and that is quite a simple task. If we have structured our data properly, we would have seen in my earlier videos, and if you have not seen that video on pivot tables, kindly go through and see that video, and you will understand that we can analyze what has been happening. But when we talk about future forecasting, we all need numbers and we all need to do future forecasting for our business, and this video is talking about that. What we are talking about in this video is where we can forecast the future and take informed decisions in a much better way. We can take informed decisions based on whatever parameters we have. So we would be talking about certain utilities, certain tools which we have in Excel. We will be talking about things like Scenario Manager, we'll talk about data tables, we'll talk about GoalSeek, and we'll see how we can forecast or how we can take informed decisions for the future in a better way. So let's start our journey. So the first thing what we are going to talk about is I'm going to talk about something called as a GoalSeek. Now here what we have is I have some data which we might have from the past years, which is there, where I have the names of the products, I have the prices, I have the quantity sold, I have the revenue what is generated. So what we are going to look at is, let's say somebody says that okay, next year we want to reach a revenue of, like for example, this time the revenue is 2.6 million, that is I want to reach a revenue of 3 million. So how do we do that? Now we can change any one of these values and do hit and try method and start getting to our result. We can do in this case is we'll go to our data tab, and in the data tab we have an option which says what if analysis. What if analysis, we have three options here: Scenario Manager, GoalSeek and data table. So first let's look at the very basic thing which is there, that is the GoalSeek option which is there. So we'll go to GoalSeek and we want to set a cell. Now which cell do we want to change? Let's say for example we want to change the total revenue cell and we want to put it as 3 million. Which cell do you want to change? I can change only one cell in this GoalSeek. So let's say I say quantity sold. So how much quantity should I sell for this particular product to reach 3 million total revenue? Now, but the limitation with data with GoalSeek is that it can only modify one cell, and it needs only one cell which can be modified. We look at other options which are better options which we can use or which have more insight into it. So first thing what we will look at is we will look at data table. Now data table is basically a tool or a utility which Excel gives us, where we can forecast our values based on our projections. Like for example, what we are saying is that this year, that is the current, in last year the sale was 1.5 5 million and we had a direct cost of 35%. So the gross profit was something like this. We have calculated the gross profit here. So this is a calculated field what is there. So what we want to do is we want to say that, okay, what would be our gross profit if we change our direct cost from 35 to 30. So what we need to do is we need to first create a layout where I have put sales on top here, and then you put your direct costs and what are the projected direct costs. So then under the sales cell where we have given the heading, or the cell which is corresponding to direct cost and the sales, I will just type equal to and refer to the cell which has the formula for calculating the gross profit, which is in cell B4 in this case. So I will just maximize so that you can see it better. So I have just written a formula where I have just referred to the cell B4. What next? We just need to select these two columns, that is the direct cost where we have 35, 34 and the cell which is having that formula. We don't need to highlight the sales heading. Next step what we do is we go to what if analysis and we say data, we select data table there, and we have two options, row input cell and column input cell. Now here the values are in a column, that is our direct cost we have put in the column C, 35, that is the variations or the projections we have put in the column C. So what we do is we say, okay, we will choose column input cell, and where is the direct cost which was given for this formula what we have calculated, or the gross profit formula is in cell B3. That means if the cell B3 changes, our gross profit should change, and our formula is already copied here. So I will click on OK, and we get our output here. We get it straight away. We get that, okay, if your direct cost is 35%, which is as such the current direct cost, our sales would be 2 million. Then if it is 34, it will be 2.1 million and so on. So we get this projections which is there. We can try to play around a little bit with these values and we can say, okay, if it is 34.5, what would be the effect? So this is dynamic what we have. Another way of doing this is I'm taking another scenario where what we have here is we have two things. We have the sales which is there, we have the direct cost, we have the gross profit, and we have the admin expenses which is also given as percentages, and what we have is we have our net profit. What we want to do is we want to see that if our direct cost is reduced and even our admin expenses get reduced, let's say from 40 we want to bring them down to, let's say, I'll keep both of them same. I'll just copy these values and I will paste them here. So what we need to do in this case is we have admin expenses projections, what we are saying that we will try to reduce it from 35 till 30, and direct costs we will try to reduce from 35 to again 30. What would be the impact on the net profit? So in this case what we need to do is, where is the formula? We have written the formula for calculating our net profit, which is gross profit minus the admin expenses which are there. So that gives us the gross profit. So what we will do is the cell which is just corresponding to the first direct cost percentage what we have given and above the first admin cost what we have given, that is the intersection between these two, is I will type equal to and select the net profit formula cell. So we will have the net profit formula here. Fair enough. The next step is again we will highlight the projected area where we want the projections to be there, and what we will do is we'll go to our data tab, what if analysis, we'll go to data table. In data table, now the scenario is we are not dependent on only one value. We are dependent on two values. One is the direct cost as well as the admin expenses. So direct cost in this case is in a row, that is in row number 8. So row input cells, that is the value for our direct cost, should be picked up from a row, and the values for our admin expenses should be picked up from the column. So row input cells will be the direct cost which is there, that is B3, and column input cells should be the admin expenses, that is your B5, and we click on OK, and we get our results straight away here. We get our results where we can see that based on our projections, various type of projections what we have, projections or the projected information what we are looking for. So if we are saying that we will reduce our admin cost from 40 to 35 and we will reduce our admin expenses from 40 to 35, the direct cost, the net profit would reach this level. So friends, don't you see that this has made our life a little bit easier in terms of forecasting and making informed decisions for the future? Watch the video further, and now what we have is a very interesting thing again, where what we are looking at is a what if analysis tool called as Scenario Manager. In Scenario Manager, what we do is we create a scenario. When we click on add, we can give it a name. I am giving it, let's say, T1. The cells which you want to change, let's say we want to say that we want to change the quantity sold for each of the products, and what we would do is we'll click on OK here. Here it is giving us for each of these cells, it is giving us the quantities 7297 for the current quantities. So what we will do is, let's say we don't have a new number, we just say that okay, some products we want to increase by 10%, some 20%, and so on. So what we will do is we'll type equal to here into, let's say this is 10%, so 1.10. Next one is also 10%. Some of the products, let's say, are 15%, and let's say this one is 20%. Let's assume that this is what we are going to do, and let's click on OK here. The moment you get this, one thing here, do not click on the merge button. The moment you click on the merge button, the current data will get updated with the new data. We don't want that. We want it to be as a summary report somewhere else. So we click on summary here, and when we click on summary, it says scenario summary, let's say, and the result cell, we want to see what would be the result cell, and we select all these rows here, including the total. Click on OK. So what do we get here? It says the current values and the scenario what we created, that is T1, and what would be the result, what would be the new value after that 10% increase and 15 and 20% increase, what would be the effect. So if it was increased from 7297 to 8027 by 10%, what is happening is we are seeing that our revenues are increasing, and we can see this difference here. So here what we can do, what we get is values. If we change by a particular value, by percentage or by a particular value, we say we get to know what was the old value and what is the new value. So we get a comparison as well here. There is a little bit of a thing here what you will observe. that when we were running this scenario, I'll just create another scenario and we'll go to what if analysis and we'll go to scenario manager and I will add a new scenario here. This scenario, let's say increase in price, and the sales this time which are changing is not the quantity sold but the price per unit. We click on OK here. So what do we see here? We see $D $4, but this is a little bit of a worry, not a worry, but this is a little bit of a thing which we'll have to be very careful. $D $4, we'll have to see here, okay, it is the product 1 cost price, then product 2. What we can, okay, let's do it this way first, and I will increase it and I will just say by 1.10. Don't forget to put the equal to symbol, otherwise the calculation will not happen. I will put 1.15 or let's say 0.5. This one I will say minus, for example 1.05. I want to reduce it and I click on OK. When this window pops up, don't get bogged down by that, that's okay. Click on OK. Now you want to see the summary, click on the summary. Which resultants in? We want to see the revenue and click on OK. So you will see here that your first scenario where what we were talking about is the current value was this one, and the first scenario the change value is this. Increase price, we have increased the price. Increased price was nothing, but when we come down, so you can see what is the effect. So 73 increase. So when you don't see this highlighted, that means there is no change or the thing is not there for that particular scenario. What we are increasing is the price in the next one. So you can see the effect and you can see the results here. So even if we increase the price, keep the quantities the same, our revenue remains the same. So this is what we are talking about in scenario manager. We can avoid doing this $E, $6 and all those things, but for that you will have to do a little bit of a work, and you remember you would have seen my video on named ranges. If you have not seen, kindly go to the named ranges video. You can go to the channel and see that video. What we can do is you give a name. Let's say we want to work with the prices, so we'll have to go to the price column and then give the name, define name, and I will give prod 1 price. We can give this define name, prod 2 price, and so on. So now when we create our what if analysis and go to scenario manager, add a new scenario, you can see the names of those cells are coming. So you know that prod 1 price you want to change. So if I just change this to equal to, let's say, into 1.10, and this one I say equal to into 1.15, click on OK, and we will go to summary, click on OK, and we can see test 2, we are changing the pricing and we are seeing the effect. So it says that you are changing the price of prod 1, you are changing the price of product 2. So friends, I hope this video would have helped you in understanding and doing your data analysis for the future, so that you can take much more informed decisions. All the best, and thank you for watching the video. If you have not subscribed for the channel, subscribe for the channel for more insightful videos on Excel and other topics. Thank you once again and have a nice time.